Let's get you on today's show. Of course, Charlie Kirk update. The girls who walked out on Temecula school over boys in their locker rooms. But the lead story 24 years ago today on 9/11, 2001, two planes hit the towers in New York City, one the Pentagon. One plane went down by some brave men who crashed that plane to avoid more destruction. Thousands lost their lives on this day. We should never forget. At 24 years later, it does seem like a lot of people are letting the 9/11 fade from their memory. One day after the tragic Charlie Kirk assassination, both of these events and many more, and the 1.5 million who fought, bled, and died for this country and this Constitution of the United States, we the people. We should dig down and have more resolve. We should think and act with a purpose. And those who died holding up that Constitution and died for the greatest country in the history of the world, they are not forgotten. They didn't die. Their memory and their legacy lives on. Some stuff with the Charlie Kirk. There's supposed to be there was a press conference early in the morning. There was supposed to be one around noon. They've delayed that. Then it was going to come on around 4 o'clock, left coast time. Or about 12, about 1 o'clock, I mean. Now maybe 5 o'clock. So if it does come on while we're on, we will jump into the middle of that. Some interesting updates in this whole story. We'll get to them, but I want to run this clip from Charlie.
Political radicalism needs a catalyst. Political radicalism does not come out of peace, prosperity, rising wages, stable families, church attendance, and happy people. Happy people, grateful people do not get behind Vladimir Lenin, and they certainly don't get behind Chavez or Castro.
That's right.
People that own nothing, that feel like their property is diminishing, or they don't have property, or their dollar is diminishing in value, they start to look for alternatives. And so the political project in front of us as conservatives should be, how do we actually de-radicalize the country in the next couple of years? That's my obsession. And that's why I say I try not to think about all this other stuff, because it just, it's so much brain space. My number one obsession is I know what is coming next.
Charlie had the foresight to see what was coming by what had been. He saw this country turning in a direction of a Mao, a Stalin, a dictatorship, where your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness was taken away. And the tools they used to do it, that's what made Charlie Kirk dangerous to the establishment, the dictators, the kooks out there trying to tell you boys or girls, red is green, if you just trust us. That's why they were afraid of Charlie Kirk. Now we'll find out, or it will become clear. We may not get definitive answers from our government like we're not getting now, but we'll have a sense. JFK, RFK murders, Martin Luther King, the assassination attempts on Reagan and Ford and Trump. I hope you see a consistency there. It doesn't take a rocket science to come to the conclusion of why this is happening. This should make our resolve again even stronger. Charlie may not be here on earth, but his legacy and his wisdom and his commitment will only die if we let it. So I hope a lot of folks, and I think they are, will hopefully get into that more today, depending on if the press conference is slated to 5 o'clock our time left close when we come out. We'll duck into the press conference if it comes on. But we're looking at maybe the sea change Charlie sought to bring. That turning around of, oh, you're going to give up your freedom to be dependent on someone else. And we know where that is. You will be the slave. They will keep you on the plantation, like the great Mason Weaver said. And that's what the plantation masters are putting in your head. We hope everyone will get to that point. And the late, great Charlie Kirk, 31 years of life will not be in vain. Another thing from Charlie that was put up on the New York Post, a quote, we have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable disagreement where violence is not an option. Charlie never proposed violence, never got into people's faces, even at all the events and the college campuses and everything that he did. He just laid out the case and made his case and wasn't afraid to make it, even as we see now and we know now at the ultimate impersonal risk. So maybe we'll get to the point of where we used to mostly do this, have civil discourse. Everybody's valid opinion, everybody's valid contribution is extremely important. Whether you may disagree, agree, even if you're disagreeing with someone, that's what Charlie said, was it made you think. The debate makes you think. It's why you should not shy away from it or say, I don't want to hear about politics, or I don't want. And that's how we get to the contention of what Charlie explained in the first clip we played. So hopefully we will see a renaissance, hit the reset button, and hopefully we will move forward as Charlie Kirk did, as those who went to work 24 years ago today and never came home. 1.5 million who fought, bled, and died for this country and never came home. Well, they came home in a casket. Here's a picture of the suspect they're looking for. Wonder if here's the young lady that's next to him. I wonder if they have interviewed her. There's the more grainy photos that they caught. It looks like going up a staircase. This almost looks like it's going down, or maybe that hallway that connects the two buildings from where allegedly the shooter was. But again, we got more questions than answers that we're not getting. We'll get into a little bit more of that in the rest of the show. And if the press conference comes in, we will definitely duck into that and give you the latest updates on the Charlie Kirk assassination. Yes, it's very strange. This whole, oh, we're going to have a press conference at 1 left coast time. Then around 4 o'clock, then maybe 5 o'clock, maybe the 12th of never. The longer it drags out, that they don't find the suspects. And we've heard all day the reasons for the cancellations were, oh, there's new developments. And so, again, this, we said it yesterday, this has all the earmarks of a professional hit. From one, you're looking at one shot. Whoever the shooter was took one shot and then got his rear end out of there, bailed out. Because if you start shooting more and more and more, that's just gonna, people are gonna figure out where. Was it 5 seconds or so in Butler, Pennsylvania on the assassination attempt on Trump that killed, and let's not forget Corey Compantore, who died in Butler. Then the sniper, boom, had it. And even though they knew the guy was on the roof there in Butler, but that's a whole different thing. From the campus police at Utah Valley, he said he had 6 police officers on the, in the grounds where the Charlie Kirk rally was going to go on. So why wasn't there at least one or somebody assigned to be checking the roofs? Didn't we learn anything from Butler, Pennsylvania? Shouldn't you have, especially with Butler, shouldn't you have drones up flying around just checking the rooftop areas? Make sure nobody's up there. If you're having an event like that at a public facility, as in a college or something, where it has, even though it's a small police department, usually do the campuses. It's not like LAPD or something, but they have resources. They can call up from the county sheriff, I'm sure. I'm sure they have a working relationship with other law enforcement agencies. Hey, we're going to need some help over here. Da 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 da. That goes on all the time, and I would be almost just shocked if they didn't have that. So why and I get some point of the secrecy part. You don't want to tip off of. That's what gets. And this the guy had a lot, or I thought was going to do a really good job was Cash Patel, of director of FBI. He released yesterday. Oh, we got released the names of the ones that they had detained before that, and their people are getting harassed. The ones that were detained that had nothing, or so far, there's been no indication, evidence. The man that was arrested at the scene, everybody had, or a lot of people had. And then there was another student there that was detained and released. Cash Patel let out his name, which is ridiculous. But you should have, in this case, and that's what I'm saying, he didn't have the weapon with him. The shooter, who allegedly, per the reports, per the official press conferences, they found a rifle in a blanket in a wooded area close to the Utah Valley College. At least from this, it doesn't appear this guy is carrying a rifle. At least from the photos that we're seeing here. Oops, give me the right one. No rifle. This looks like he's walking from the rooftop area, maybe down that connector that's between the two buildings, or however he got out. Somebody walking with a rifle. Now, if he didn't have the rifle here while he was in the buildings after Charlie was shot, then how did the rifle get from the rooftop or wherever the shooter was to the wooded area? And then we have, the bullets are transcribed with supposedly some sort of transgender messages, fascist messages, or whatever. I mean, the young gentleman in this picture appears to be wearing a shirt with American flag and a gun, which would indicate, hey, Charlie Kirk was a big Second Amendment supporter. Obviously America loved the United States of America, so that shirt wouldn't necessarily be out of context at a Charlie Kirk rally. So again, there were some pictures. If the rifle got in the wooded area outside the college, why isn't this guy toting it? If he's not toting it, means there has to be a second person that got to, or that put the rifle, or is that the rifle that killed Charlie Kirk? I mean, they're going to do ballistics on it. I'm sure that will be very expedited. It's very interesting. Again, this has all the earmarks, in my view, of a professional hit. And the longer this lingers on, or because if this is a professional hit by what some have speculated, whoever the shooter is probably, if it's a professional hit, is probably out of the country. Charlie Kirk assassination had professional ballpark security experts. So this is just not Roy speculating. Shooting of Charlie Kirk in Utah had the hallmarks of a professional assassination, according to several security experts. The prominent conservative activist, who was 31 and struck at that, we know that. Analysts point to the firing of a single shot and the pre-established escape route as evidence that the shooting had been carefully planned. Former FBI agent said the shooter likely put a lot of preparation into the attack, telling Fox News Jesse Waters this assassination is different to the attack on Trump back in Butler. It was very well planned, very well orchestrated plot that was put in motion days before. The individual had a plan of escape to elude detection, being out on the rooftop, being able to evade and elude law enforcement, added Kaplan. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, to me, is indicative of a professional hit. And I'm not so sure we are quickly going to be able to apprehend the individual without some luck. That's what we said last night. This thing had all the qualifications of a professional hit, not some crazed person, delusional. The first clue was the one shot and he's out. Could be a she, but that's something to talk about. Maybe we'll discuss later. This is someone who had some experience, some level of sophistication to have mapped out exactly how this was going to go down. Former Republican state senator and Homeland Security advisor Michael Sabelloni made a similar point, telling Fox News it's an incredibly chaotic scene on a college campus, hundreds of people there right immediately afterward. He added that a rifle sound we heard and nobody else was able to identify an individual, which most likely means that individual was shooting from concealment and maybe had some way to suppress or hide the flash of the gun. And again, indicating that this was a sophisticated individual. One shot hitting the target from 200 meters away, then escaping without anybody seeing them. Those are the hallmark of a professional. So the longer this goes on, and the longer they're delaying the press conferences or canceling them and then saying, oh, well, this is fluid. We're bringing in more information. Again, Charlie Kirk let it rip. said it unabashed, unafraid, unchained. Again, he was not mean about it. He wasn't personal. But he had the strength of his convictions. And most of the time he had right on his side.
25 seconds, 25 seconds.
So we'll pick this up and we'll get into the Temecula girls walkout for the boys being in their locker rooms and stuff. Pick up more on the Charlie Kirk and the hit. If the press conference does come off, we will switch live to it while we're on the air. So far, they've
2
been
seconds. Here we go.
they've been screwing us around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the former today and band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out on the Roy Leckert channel. Man, what a day. 9/11, 24 years ago. Never forget. Thousands of people lost their lives in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania over the airplane attacks. It's kind of disappointing. You don't hear that much about it. It's kind of like people are doing it as an afterthought. Next year will be the 25th anniversary and, the silver anniversary. People will probably do that. But I've noticed, especially in the last 5 years, that people are like, 9/11 didn't kind of blow it off. And with the Charlie Kirk assassination yesterday, and all the connotation that has in 9/11, the 1.5 million that have fought and bled and died for this country. I hope it brings everyone more of a resolve to say we're not going to let the greatest country in the history of the world slip away. And like I said it earlier in the broadcast, Charlie may not be here, but he only dies if we do forget, if we don't pick this up. The 1.5 million who've laid down their lives before us. Those who passed away unnecessarily 24 years ago today. So hopefully it motivates most of us, if not all of us. It should motivate all of us to pay a little more attention, smell the coffee, admire the roses, and know why you have them, and know what it takes to not only protect them, but pass on a better life for future generations. That's what Charlie was all about. It's what the United States of America founded 249 and a few days ago. That Declaration of Independence, as we're wearing on our shirt today. We updated you the picture on that. What is strange is this: there was a very early morning press conference. We were supposed to get one on the Charlie Kirk situation at about noon, left coast time. Then it was going to be 3 o'clock, then 4 o'clock, now 5 o'clock, maybe. Now we're still waiting. And again, if it rolls in, we'll bring it to you. But as we said yesterday, and we read the article on MSM, this has all the earmarks of a professional hit. One shot, this dude's out of there. Where's the pictures of him or her or anybody, this supposed suspect or person of interest? Where's the picture of him carrying the rifle? I mean, we have pictures of him, no rifle in hand, no appearance of it. It's very difficult to hide a rifle. Handgun, yes. A 30 caliber Mauser, no. So as we look to this, and we've had the professionals chime in, and a couple of them saying the same thing. This has the idea, the earmarks of a professional hit. If he wasn't carrying the rifle, then somebody wanted somebody to find that rifle. Whether it's to find the inscription, and we thought it was odd that the shot rings out when the transgender question is asked, and then supposedly there's the inscription, like that doctor that got killed, or the healthcare professional that got killed by Mangione, or whatever his name was, whatever Italian name it was. And supposedly having transgender, anti-fascism or something on it, transcribed in the ammo that's in the gun. Well, you would think, well, if he was only going to fire one shot, well, you'd keep him in there. And you'd think, well, okay, you could have magazines or extra ammunition if you thought you had to shoot your way out. But he's not carrying. According to this picture, or some pictures on the scene, this dude does not appear to be carrying a rifle with him. So how did the rifle they found, if it is, in fact, which ballistics will prove almost beyond a shadow of a doubt if it is, if that's a rifle, how did it get from the rooftop or wherever it was fired from at Utah Valley College to the wooded area by the college? Because if that's the case, they wanted that to be found. Why? Is it a diversion? Is it to keep you looking over here so you don't see what the real is? Is this the magician trick? They're waving the right hand while they're pulling the trick with their left hand, because they're pointing you and you're looking at the shiny object. You're looking at the cell phone. You're going, oh God, somebody might be liking my post or something. In fact, I guess that should be the new magician's trick. Why do I keep wanting to say musician? Magician's trick. Just show them the cell phone. Everybody go, oh. They'll be locked in the cell phone. You could do damn near anything. So, again, is this whole thing, I don't want to get too conspiratorial again and jump off the wagon. But it's like the JFK deal. There was no way, that Oswald pulled all that off by himself, and the magic bullet theory and the whole thing. But still, that's the official government rendition on the JFK assassination, and a whole bunch of others that we are. So, and again, the longer this guy goes, or gal, it could be, we don't know that this is the guy that pulled the trigger or the one they're putting out. He's just a suspect or person of interest. So it's insane. The other unbelievable, heart wrenching. And here's just a smattering of the posts people are putting out, praising the shooter, glad Charlie Kirk's dead. On and on and on. That's about as sickening, heartbreaking as you can get. Corey DeAngelis, he posts on a lot of school stuff. This is supposedly a teacher. Hearing that Charlie Kirk got shot and died really brightened up my day. Nobody deserves it, but some are asking for it. Headed anyone else who wants to creep my wall and tell me how upsetting this is. Charlie was a effing ghoul who got on every other school shooting and mass shootings and defended guns. He'd want us to support the gun case. See more in the comments. Well, the school superintendent said, "Oh, we're not going to do nothing about this because he put it on his private social media, yada, yada, yada." Now, I've heard a lot of this from both ways on this situation, even though of you're putting it on social media, even on your account and you're a teacher. But how do we as a society tolerate teachers posting this stuff? Talk about hateful rhetoric. Lives a TikTok. I put this on allegedly. Another teacher wrote this. Charlie Kirk died the same way he lived, bringing out the worst in people. And this goes on and on. We heard the same thing with Trump when the Trump assassination attempts. Heard a post from somebody from a senior member in the fire department that was going along the same tact, and they couldn't believe it. It's the name calling in that, and where does it come from? And like we said, they go after Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, Castro, Chavez, Idi Amin, Mao, Ping Pong. They go after the kids. It's why they're making your kids stupid. Look at the latest reports. Half the kids in school, not at grade level, don't even have basic reading and math and science skills. That means if you put 2 plus 2 in front of them, half the kids can't come up with the answer 4. And the reason they're doing that is they know the less intelligent you are, the more they can control you. That's what we played in the opening clip of Charlie. That's why he was especially going to the college campuses and working with the youth and trying to get them to, as we say, see the light. The great Thomas Sowell, racism is not dead, but it is on life support, kept alive by politician race hustlers and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racist. What about in the whole transgender thing? Oh, you're racist, homophobic, same thing. Straight white males, hillbillies, racist, homophobic, everything. Doesn't matter. If they don't like what you're saying, you're automatically dubbed a racist right out of the gate. Now you're trying, it's intended to get you to start not talk about the subject because they know they're losing that. That's to get you to start defending yourself and get off this topic. It's like the loaded question of when did you stop beating your wife? Well, that implies you were beating her, and if you weren't, then the question's totally irrelevant. We'll get to this in a minute. And how's to, or I'm going to weave it into the Temecula girls, the Temecula junior high or the junior high in Temecula. But I will say this. If this starts to be a trend and not just a one-off, I may start watching the no ball sports again. I got to applaud the New York Yankees. For tonight's game, we held a moment of silence in memoriam of Charlie Kirk. Kirk founded the youth activist group Turning Point USA and had become a fixture on college campuses. Charlie Kirk, a husband, a father of two children, was 31 years old. They posted that up on the big board at Yankee Stadium, so I'm giving them props, big thumbs up. Thank you. This is better than kneeling and the national anthem and the wokeism and the stupid stuff, the racism crap that's been put on the fields that you see on TV. This to me, first in my memory, in 5 years, the no ball sports have actually done something worth watching. And growing up as a kid, I was the biggest Yankee hater because I was an LA Dodger fan, and Angels too. I always support the SoCal teams no matter what. But I got to give big props to the New York Yankees for doing that. Thank you, sirs. You deserve a lot of credit. For going against that. I was going to do it on Wednesday because on Tuesday night, the girls from Temecula at their junior high school, they walked out, said, we're done with this. No more boys in the girls' bathrooms. We're not tolerating the stupids or the idiocracy. This is for the girls at the Temecula school board meeting that Tuesday night with their real girls rock shirts. Sophia Lowry writes, say no more. Putting minor females in adult situations no more. Biological males in our locker rooms. This is an 8th grade girl who spoke at the Temecula school board meeting after the girls and other students, a few boys joined them. More should have that, especially more dads should have been down there. But we'll take what we can get.
Hello, my name is Elena Resto, and I'm a student at TVUSD. I would like to discuss the issue with having biological males in a female locker room. To begin with, locker rooms involve undressing, showering, and intimate personal care. This means that females are in a very physically vulnerable state. Sharing these spaces between male and females can lead to discomfort, embarrassment, and a loss of personal dignity, especially for minors or individuals from conservative or religious backgrounds. Even if no harm is intended, the mere presence of someone of the opposite sex can cause distress to others. Sex segregated locker rooms are a long-standing norm because they respect physical boundaries and social expectations surrounding modesty, especially in environments where people are exposed or undressed. If the biological male is highly affected by changing in the male's locker room, then they should be offered different accommodations, such as a non-binary locker room or the option to change at the nurse's office. This will help both the females that are uncomfortable with males in their space and the trans students that are uncomfortable changing in their designated locker rooms. I say no more. No more putting minor females in adult situations. No more biological males in our locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. More sense from Elaine. Than most of the adults out there. I know I was very proud that she and the other three stood up at the school board meeting and the others that walked out earlier in the day. I know I was proud. I hope Charlie saw that before he passed. I'm pretty sure he did. I know he would have been proud. He'd have been cheering them and he would have been saying, you know, all the work I've done is worth it. The threats I've taken, and he would probably say today, I would give my life, and I did. So that young girl, his two young daughters, and every other one didn't have to suffer the idiotic fate we're doing today. So it's absolutely 1000% should make everyone else give you that resolve to never give up, to never back down. The other RUSD Redlands, John Barry posted, Candy Olson and Jeanette Wilson. And he's showing you the picture, and they've been fighting it with the trannies and all that, and the same thing that they're fighting in Temecula and other Riverside and other schools with this issue. They didn't show up, or very few of them. As John Barry, former PE reporter and muckety muck with Redlands Tea Party patriots. So again, congrats to Candy and Jeanette for hanging strong, taking the brickbats. I'm sure they got many threats, not only publicly as been at the Redlands School Board, but probably privately. They didn't back up and they didn't back down. I bring these examples as hopefully more people will have a spine. And I'm talking to you boys out there and men. Do you want to have a 13-year-old girl that's got more balls than you to go up there to Temecula School Board and do? No, you should be protecting her. That's what your job is, to not allow that to happen in the first place. That's why you were put on this earth as the retarded half of the population. Stick your foot down and say, no, we're not doing stupid. We're not putting our grandmothers, mothers, wives, daughters in a dangerous situation. You're going to have to go through me. Hopefully we will mark September 10th as the day that changed. Purdue cops were on the job, busted 4 Inland Empire gang members on a traffic stop. And as they say, there are no routine traffic stops. What did they find? Guns and drugs. It's something else. Beaumont police found a dead body by the Diamond Chevrolet over there. Investigation is ongoing. Rancho Cucamonga's remembrance ceremony comes home to Spanoglia 9/11 Memorial Park. It's a good job, Rancho C. That picture there says it all. Right there, it can't be any clearer. Of what we should all be planning, thinking, working towards. Nobody else is going to do it. You can't wait around staring at your phone or thinking somebody else or thinking the magic fairy is going to come down. Or even think, however you believe, God, natural, free will, whatever. You have free will to take this any way you want. Maybe God didn't want it to happen or that, but God allowed Charlie Kirk to be murdered. Maybe that was a wake-up call. Maybe that was a motivation. Maybe there was something else. But you should defend this flag. You should defend this Constitution, just like you defend your faith, your family, your freedom. With everything you got, because that's really the only thing you got. I hope more take stock. Take it away, Jesse.
All right. Have a great night.
We'll see you.
Yep.